Welcome to the What's Our Verdict podcast, where we fashion ourselves television judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-host, Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
We appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead and hit that follow, subscribe, like, bell notification buttons. Help you keep up with all of our live episodes. Live.
I like that.
Jesus. Live is fun, man. You never know what's going to happen. Live episodes like this one. Also tell a friend about us. Hey, whoa, shit, we got comments already. Look at that. We got Anakin Skywalker fan.
Hey.
I'm always a friend to a Star Wars fan like that. So, hey.
And then Charles,
let's get it, Charles.
That's what's up, Charles.
That's my guy. Welcome. So we're glad to have everybody here. We're going to talk about, Secret Invasion. I think this might be the first time that Alec and I may stray a little on an opinion.
Probably.
We've been pretty close on the first two, but yes, bringing the shit show, Charles. Bringing the shit show. I appreciate that, though. So let's talk about it. It's episode 3. Spoilers abound. So if you haven't watched the episode and you want to avoid it, maybe come back and listen after the fact. But if not, let's talk about it. I actually didn't mind this episode. Like, it wasn't something I'm going to write home about or like get all like, shit, this is the greatest television show ever made. But I enjoyed it. Like, I was intrigued. I watched it with like, hey, where are we going? Ooh, this is cool. Okay, Extremis. There's some cool shit. Starting to see Super Skrulls a little bit. And then, I think it was a waste with like Emilia Clarke, because either they spent a lot of money for an actress that is now not part of the show, or, come on, guys, you're going to really kill Emilia Clarke in episode 3.
I'm going with the or.
Yeah, me too. But overall, like, I was pleasantly surprised. I was going in very low expectations based on the first 2 episodes. I left pretty happy, and maybe that was the goal of the first 2 episodes. I don't know.
Yeah, so that the third one looks better.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, it was going the right direction. Like, there was points and moments where I was like, okay, this is cool. But at the same time, now we're halfway through the show, or season 1 of the show. It's like, what was your goal? What did you try to accomplish? Why the first 2 episodes? And then the third one is good, but you're running out of time for what you're trying to leave someone on the hook for.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the boat where I'm like, I'm curious about what happens next week, but I'm not ecstatic or like, I gotta wait for it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. There's some intrigue here. I like the, plot upon plot and seeing the Super Skrulls and, Talos coming in with the Big Daddy move. That was dope.
Yeah.
But it was like, after the first 2 episodes, this should have been like episode 1.
Sure.
Or episode 2.
Yeah.
And instead of being, halfway through the season now, I'm like, where do you go from here, guys? Because you either got to ramp it up or start setting up for a season 2.
Yeah. Which I don't think we're getting a season 2 of this one. I think this is, and I think you'll see 3, 4, or 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, whatever the hell numbers they'll be. The next 3, I think will probably go nuts if I had to guess. And you're either going to have Gaia is gone, and then Talos is going to go off the rails. Because we saw in this episode, they just say her name, and he loses it. Like, that's the one thing that this dude's tried to do the entire show, is not hurt Skrulls, or at least not kill Skrulls, and no hesitation. When he lost it on freaking Gravik, I was like, damn. And then when he just wasted that dude and just thunk, done. You know what I mean? I was like, okay. So Talos has a button, and it's Gaia, and I like it. I like that he has a weakness. But yeah, obviously they gotta turn up the volume quite a bit over the next 3 episodes. My fear And then I want to talk about something I really enjoyed that they've wasted in this show. I feel based on this episode. But anyway, I feel like this is like setting up the Marvels, and I'm not here for it. You know what I mean? Like, and I realize the Marvels with the previews that we've seen, you're getting the villain is the daughter, it looks like, of the dude from Guardians of the Galaxy. Why I can't think of his name. He's a Kree, so it's not a Skrull thing. But you can't have the Marvels without the Skrulls based on what they've done so far, right? So a Captain Marvel movie is gonna have Skrulls in it. And I feel like that's what this is gonna turn into. And I hope I'm wrong, but like, oh, I'm gonna be so mad if we get to, yeah, I know. I am.
Exactly, Charles. He's on his soapbox. We're here for it.
I'm going off. But that's what I feel like that's what they're doing. They're like, well, we got to get intrigue for the Marvels because nobody's looking forward to it, which is why the Marvels has become what it is. You have the Miss Marvel from the TV show that did relatively well, except with Alec. And then the one from the girl that was in I cannot think of her name. The actress name is Tiana Paris, and she's cool, but she plays the daughter of Captain Marvel's best friend, and she's the other part of the trilogy, 3 of them. And then she did really well in WandaVision. And so, and look, a lot of people are like me and not a huge fan of the Captain Marvel actress, the character, just not here for that. But I'm excited for Miss Marvel. But that's what I feel like they're doing is they're ramping up because he's going to be in it. You know, Samuel Jackson's going to be in it. You know, Talos is probably going to be in it. So I'm hoping that I'm wrong and this is truly standalone. And sure, there'll be some references to it, probably a post-credit scene that leads into it. But God, I just hope it's not a full-on prequel series to the Marvels because I will be wildly disappointed if it is. But that's what it's feeling like to me. It could be based on the story that's being told.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either, actually. Now that you bring it up, it makes a lot of sense because you need a way to bridge the, let's just say, 30, 40-year gap from original Captain Marvel to present day. And this show has kind of been doing a pretty good job of bridging that gap with the flashbacks, and you kind of understand who's who and what's what and where they are. But no.
Charles,
why'd you have to say that, JJ?
I know, sorry. And Charles, you're supposed to disagree with me to make me feel better about me being wrong. Hopefully, but I'm with you based on it. Yeah, based on what they've done in the past, I agree. Well, and to me, it's like I was thinking about it while I was watching this episode. And near the end of it, I was like, oh God, they have to have, like you said, not only the last 30 years that there's that gap, but even based on the blip that they keep talking about the blip and how Fury reacted to the blip. You got to get how he reconnects with, because the Infinity War duo of movies would be a great way to connect him with Captain Marvel again, because he reached out to her. That's how she ended up in Endgame, but then he disappears. They've made this conscious choice of he went up to Saber, disappeared, didn't reconnect with Captain Marvel. She took off and did whatever the hell else she was doing. And now they have to find a way to reconnect. So here's this story of how they're bringing back Fury to the Skrulls piece, and then the beginning of the Marvels will probably be, how this teleportation issue between the 3 of them and their powers are connected, and it ends up bringing them and connecting them again. So that's why I say that. Like, I just am like, oh, here we go, son of a bitch. Yeah, and it'll make me mad because then I'm like, just give me a show that stands alone, like, for once. Like, and I guess not stands alone, but the only thing that it's just a little bit connected, right? The end of it connects, because like WandaVision was okay, But my problem with WandaVision is they started it. WandaVision was amazing. It was my favorite one of the bunch, I think. And then they did freaking Doctor Strange, and I was like, whoa, that doesn't connect right. Charles, yes. I feel like I need an encyclopedia. I can't speak tonight to keep track of everything. Or you need to be like, I was going to say, or you're like Alec.
JJ, I have a question. JJ, I have a question. JJ, I need information.
That's one of my favorite things about these shows, the Star Wars and the comics, is between you and Mattson. It's always like, so I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah. So I will say this though, what I love, my favorite part of this episode, and we've seen hints of it in the first two, is Ben Mendelsohn and Samuel L. Jackson together. I could watch an entire show of these two being overly dramatic and shitty to each other, because that car ride, the bar scene, like amazing shit. Those two actors play off of each other extremely well. And I'm here for it. Like, that was fun. I love the bar. Are you here for an English breakfast? I doubt it, asshole. Oh God, Charles, that's dangerous. Can we clone chat JJ AI? First of all, there's a problem with both of those questions. One, two of me, we can't know each other because we're go to jail. But chat JJ AI, that scares me even more. I don't know that I want my consciousness attached to some sort of AI.
I got an outro idea.
Write that down. I still might end up in jail if it's chat JJI. Oh God, that's funny. Yeah, but I enjoyed the hell out of those two. Like the English breakfast comment, like I burst out laughing, and then him being a dick and making Fury actually say, "I need you" or whatever.
I'm useless without you.
Yeah, I'm useless without you. That shit was great. Like, because you could just see Sam Jackson being like, this motherfucker, like, and then he pats his arm like all lovingly and patronizingly, like as he's walking out. And I just, like the whole, but then their dynamic too of, the guy calls him as Talos, but the fact that he calls him Nick immediately gave it away that this wasn't Talos, right? Like this is, and so they have that relationship that they're so close, and yet they've hurt each other's feelings, and now they still are together. And that the proof is in Talos' one of his last comments is like, you just don't get it, do you? Like, I'm not with him because I'm with you. Like, we're friends. Like, we are connected. We're brothers, whatever you want to say. I don't give a shit. Like, I may agree with some of the things that he is saying and doing, but I made a commitment to you, and I believe in what you do and who you are. So I just really liked their dynamic. It really saved the show as a whole just in their interactions in this episode. And I want more of it. They've wasted it. This should be every other scene, these two, in my opinion.
Well, it even makes sense because it's Sam Jackson and Talos taking over the world. And then you've got, you throw in what's her bucket, MI6 lady.
Oh, yeah.
Because, those three are what make the show. And it makes sense to have most of it be about them because they're the ones who are trying to uncover, Gravik's plots.
Mm-hmm.
I love Emilia Clarke, but I don't need as much of her as we've been getting. So, one point for her character staying dead is that, hopefully we'll get more of the Goon Squad. But, because even to the point you're talking about, like the whole house scene with the British admiral or chief of command, whoever it was, greatest part of the show so far.
Oh, yeah.
It had everything that you'd expect from like a TV show called Secret Invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is the whole submarine scene and how that went down. That's the level I was expecting.
Yeah.
Like from the get-go. And they kind of lead you into that a little bit with the introduction of the show, but then it just took a left turn. And now we get the whole backstory, which is nice, but I want the Secret Invasion portion of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get more of them.
Yeah, and I feel like they've introduced too many characters like that. I'm just not like, and I'm not surprised. Like I know that they tried to do this whole thing with her with his wife, right, being part of Gravik's group at the end with the phone call and like her being all sneaky and shit because he left and reprimanding. But it just did. I was like, I'm just not interested in that. Like I was intrigued at the end of episode 2 when I saw her because I was like, oh, he's gonna have another ally, a complete ally that may not agree with or that may have some level of, because she is a Skrull. So, and she has a relationship with Gravik, obviously. And they may change it, but like, it just feels unnecessary and it doesn't add anything. I'm just like, now I got to waste time with her. And then I'm with you. Like, I love Amelia Clark. Like, I think she's an amazing actress. I enjoy her and almost like I even enjoyed that shitty Christmas movie she made. Like, it was bad, but I enjoy her. She has tons of charisma. And I think that's what I don't like about her character. And I'm like, I never thought I would hope to not have Amelia Clark come back. But they've put her in this place the writers have put her in this place where she's playing a character that I don't care about. As sad as that is, because her direct connection to Talos doesn't lose his shit without her character. But I don't care about her character except for how it makes Talos a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like, that's it. Because this character has no charisma whatsoever. She's just the MacGuffin for Talos and this person that betrays Gravik and puts him in this position. But I'm just like, Ooh, Charles, that's why do you got to put the tough question to us? To me, anyway. Do you feel this series was necessary? Absolutely not. But I haven't felt that. Oh God, I haven't felt that any of these series were necessary. Unfortunately, which is the part that is the hardest for me to get kind of off topic on topic. And Alec, I've told you this before. The reason I was excited for the television side of Marvel is because the movies are always so disconnected because you have 2 hours or 2.5 hours to tell this story. And then it's like the question comes in an Iron Man movie, especially after the Avengers, right? There's no excuse after the first Avengers movie to have Iron Man 3 and go, well, where the hell's Captain America? And where the hell is, Black Widow? Or where the hell is all these other characters? Well, the comics, when you have this big giant storyline, you have the way to tell these side stories that go, okay, that's why they weren't able to be there. They had their own shit going on. This is why they weren't able to be there. They had their own shit going on. And the TV series had the ability to do that, right? But they haven't. It's to Alec's point, they've made big, long 6-hour, 5-hour, 8-hour movies that I wonder, where the hell is the rest of the group, right? Like, because I get that they tried to explain away, and here's a hot take for you, Charles. I get why they used, the Skrulls come in and they'll turn the Avengers into, terrorists or whatever, but that's just some exposition that explains to me why that group's not there. If they had done the TV shows right, then I would know why they're not there without him having to say that throwaway line, right? And that's the part that disappoints me about the shows, and why, to your question, Charles, I don't feel they're necessary. I haven't felt any of them have been necessary because they haven't done what they could have done to tie the movies together and enhance the movies, for that matter. I take it back. Loki's just as good as WandaVision. Loki was amazing. And Loki probably is the most necessary. If there's any of them that have been necessary, it was Loki because it introduced us to Kang. But that was it. Yeah.
I concur.
Oh, it's frustrating as a fan. Like, I want to thoroughly love these. And to be honest, like things like the Miss Marvel thing where she is an X-Men, that pissed me off. But that kind of thing could have been cool if they had used her to introduce the Inhumans as she is. And I know they tried that shit and it didn't work very well, but that's because that TV show blew ass. Like, that was just terrible. But they had a chance to like reinvite, and especially with Doctor Strange coming, where you have Black Bolt that was introduced as part of that movie. There's another Inhuman. Like, so why are we not? There's just little things that they could have done. And like, again, that would have helped me. I don't know that it helps Alec, like, or anyone like Alec that doesn't read the comics, right?
Doesn't help me at all.
Yeah.
But I still felt the shows were unnecessary for the most part.
Yeah. Well, and I'm curious. So I have a question based off of that, because I knew they were going to be unnecessary for you or even a fan like you that doesn't have that deep background of comics that I have. But I also know, so I have two questions. Was there ever a time in Marvel that you were like, this shit's great?
We're talking all from the conception
since Iron Man, the original Iron Man.
Iron Man.
2008.
Yeah, I would say when they were the first end credit scene, which came in the Incredible Hulk, when you had Robert Downey Jr. show up as Iron Man, till about I'm gonna go with the first Avengers movie. Like you have through the first Avengers movie, let's say this is phenomenal, and I'll watch any of those movies anytime, because it's not like a superhero movie. It's let's introduce you to these characters that are superheroes through movie format. And now what I'm getting, like the Doctor Strange movie, when we did that, the newest one, I had no idea what was going on for the majority of it, because now it's to a point where they're telling like the comic book side of things, which I think was always the plan. Let's get it going this way to, go back to the people who enjoy the comics and read it. But I'm consuming it and I'm like, this means nothing. And then you have characters that show up and that you notice and you're like, oh yeah, this was cool because this is a throwback to this or this. And to me, it's like, this was a wasted character. Why'd I have to see that? Or then they pop up, 3 movies later down the road and it's like, oh, there's a tie-in. That's what we were looking for.
Yeah.
But fair. The original rollout where we got to meet everybody right off the bat, I was like, okay, because we're meeting superheroes, but it's not necessarily a comic book movie that you need to have that background in for. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was wondering, like, because I know that they're not especially as we gotten later on into the movies, that they're just not your favorite thing. And they're not, I don't think they're anybody's favorite thing anymore because of where they've gone. But I was curious if they continued being that good, would that change the perspective of, were these necessary?
Probably. I mean, if they kind of stick to a little bit of the same format where they're introducing a character, like for example, the one that I've liked the most is Moon Knight, because we had a little teeny tiny bit of tie-in, a little bit, but mostly it was, this character of Moon Knight and following his story through a, series of events of how he becomes who he is. But it was played the same way. It wasn't necessarily a comic book story. It was a story that they told about a comic book character. That's the best way I can put it, to where it just feels different. Whereas She-Hulk, comic book story. Miss Marvel, comic book story. I mean, there was moments where Miss Marvel had to where it was like, okay, we're telling a story about a comic book character.
Yeah.
But for most of it, I was like, this is a comic book story, and I don't understand why it needs to be.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'm with Charles. Let's get hashtag blue ass trending. Dude, come on, man. The Inhumans movie show on ABC, it blew ass. Like, it was terrible. But I mean, and even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was pretty bad. But it had its moments because Coulson was great. Phil Coulson, the guy that plays Coulson's awesome. And it had so it had some moments that were okay, but damn, the Inhumans was terrible. And thanks for reminding me of the third one that I really enjoyed, that being Moon Knight. I did really like Moon Knight. Not just because I thought the crocodile chick was hot.
Don't bring that conversation back up.
Yeah, that was a good one. Go back and you can rewatch the it was like the next to last episode of, or maybe it was the last episode of Moon Knight.
I think it was the last episode.
I think it was. Yeah, that shit was funny. That one went weird though. We kind of got sideways on that one thanks to Mattson's wife.
Yeah, thanks
Taylor
Matt. And Mattson's wife.
Yeah. I will say this though. I was glad that I felt better about this episode, and I am optimistic for the last 3 episodes if it continues trending. I just hope they get through the not so cool, like clandestine shit, like the whole plot with his wife and my, because here's the thing is I don't think she's actually on his side. I just don't know. And obviously she was part of it to a degree, but I think she'll end up turning on him too. It just doesn't, you can't introduce a character like that for Nick Fury. Well, I guess maybe you can, because then he's back to being by himself when you move into the Marvels movie. And there we go again, that tie-in shit. I don't know. And that's part of my problem. I just don't care based on what they did in this episode about Nick Fury's wife. I just don't. But I do feel like if they could bring back Gaia and have her be charismatic and kind of let go of the chip she's got on her shoulder and then have that tie-in. But I would like it more if she didn't, even though I'll miss Emilia Clarke, and have Talos just kind of go off the rails, like just absolutely gonzo in the brain and just starts murking everybody that's attached to Gravik, right? Because then I'd be like, oh shit. And now Fury's got to like rein him in and try to save the world from this group. Like that would be intriguing. So anyway, but I am looking forward to it much more than I have been after the first 2 episodes. So hopefully it gets better, and hopefully it's not a complete and utter tie-in to the Marvels that comes out at the end of this year. So anyway, that's all I got. You got any questions, thoughts, concerns? Merkin. Merkin. I think the correct spelling would be Mercin or En.
I like this spelling though.
I do too. And no, I'm not talking about Merkin. No, Merc.
I did have one question. That's
okay.
Little baby thing. But so when Talos stabs Gravik, we see red blood. Don't they have purple blood, or are they able to simulate red blood?
So
girls.
No,
the spelling is different on that one.
Yeah, it's good shit. I love it. And yeah, so and to your question, yes, which makes me think that the DNA whatever thing that they've done has changed them on an even more fundamental level and maybe made them more human, because and I don't know if it's really tough, because we see in the trailer at some point he's going to have what's his face powers, Groot powers. But now we saw, the Iron Man 3 shit, the Extremis, but the Extremis thing was a human thing, right? So I'm wondering, that's the only thing I can think of. Is it somewhere along the line that DNA has changed him to where he's not? Obviously, there's some differences there. No need to say sorry, Charles. I completely support having a few more. So yeah, it was weird that the blood was red.
Okay, because I noticed that and I was like, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, and the other thing that we haven't seen from Gravik since the first episode is him shift.
Ooh.
So I'm wondering if something weird's going on there, because that's the other thing that we haven't seen is him shift since then. They're good at that, Charles. Marvel will make you drink. I've had a few myself on occasion because Marvel, especially She-Hulk. I had to drink a lot to get through She-Hulk. In fact, I think I went on a binge when we figured out it was 9 episodes instead of 6. That one hurt my soul. So, good question. Yeah, it was a little weird. I was like,
all right.
Why is that red? Because it shouldn't be. Shouldn't be. Because everybody else, even when we seen them get shot, like you even saw with Gaia, hers was that purple.
Yeah. Purple color.
Purple. All right. Well, that's all I got. I am looking forward to next week, but we'll see. So there it is. Alec, tell everybody where they can find us when they're not hanging out with us live.
Happy to, JJ. Since I'm traveling, I didn't have time to write anything out, so I turned to my good friend, Chat JJ AI. So we'll see how this goes, and I'll apologize in advance. Ladies and gentlemen, that's new. Thank you for tuning in to another exciting episode of our Marvel Secret Invasion podcast. That's debatable. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the 3rd episode of the series where the Skrull invasion plot thickens and tensions rise. Okay, that was honest. While we've been following this highly anticipated series with great enthusiasm, also questionable, we understand that not every episode hits the mark for everyone. We agree. Yep. Marvel Secret Invasion has undoubtedly taken us on a roller coaster ride. Sure. Weaving intricate storylines? No. And introducing new characters? Yes. However, it's important to acknowledge that not every show can please every viewer. That's fair. We believe it's essential to embrace diverse opinions and perspectives. Absolutely not. Just because this episode didn't meet your expectations doesn't mean the whole series is a lost cause. I'm going to say I disagree with that. Marvel has always been known for its ability to surprise and evolve. ChatGPT is owned by Marvel. Cool. So there's still plenty of potential for the story to take exciting turns. I agree with that. There's still plenty of potential. We encourage you to stick around and continue watching with an open mind. Sometimes it's the twists and turns and subsequent episodes that make the journey worthwhile, not in a 6-episode season. Remember, Marvel has a history of delivering exceptional storytelling, and Secret Invasion could still have some incredible surprises in store for us. It better. As we sign off, we want to express gratitude to our current patron, the Brandon Routh Appreciation Society. Thanks, Charles, for your continued support. We have your Q3 request, and we are forcing Matt, who says he's semi-retired, to do it. So I'm excited for that. When you aren't watching us live, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Stitcher, Ghana, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube for the time being. We might be switching over YouTube indefinitely. I think it's been officially decided, and right around August, I think, is when we're making the switch permanent. So with that, I will send it back to Jack Dunn's baby, the king of Crash, a JJ.
I love it. We got some great comments here before we sign off. First of all, Santranza, hello back. Thanks for joining us on Twitch. We appreciate it. Continue to join us. We're here every Thursday for the time being. Great enthusiasm. Yeah.
Thoughts exactly, Charles.
Look,
questioning what ChatGPT was saying.
ChatGPT
JJ.
Yeah, no. Well, so before I scold Charles, the chat JJ AI would have been something like, "Hey, come back next Thursday, fuckers," and that would have been the end of it.
I'll take a note of that. That's good. That'll come.
Yeah, that was. So I know that was definitely ChatGPT, and the best part of that was Marvel ChatGPT. That shit was great. Charles, Brandon Routh rules except in Superman movies, but that's not except in Superman Returns, because I loved him in Chuck. TV show Chuck was one of the greatest underrated TV shows ever made. And I enjoyed him in the CW Flashpoint, I think it was, or whatever, one of their come together things. It wasn't Flashpoint. It was the one with, I don't know. It was one of those come together, but he played a different version of Superman that was kind of grumpy, which I liked him in that, but come on, dude, Superman Returns was terrible. Oh God. And I, just so you know, I haven't looked at Patreon this week. Shameless plug for those that are joining us that aren't Charles. come join Charles on Patreon, and you can become part of our inside jokes too. It's anyway, I'll stop. But yeah, I didn't notice Patreon, so that was a new one. I just heard the name, and that was great. The Brandon Routh Appreciation Society. Charles, always a gas getting your new names. And Chat Ginge likes him as Superman. I wish I could say that would be completely untrue, but the Ginge man, Mr. Ginge himself, is completely unpredictable. With that, before Charles keeps us here for another hour with awesome comments, we appreciate everybody tuning in, those watching us live, those that will watch and listen later. Always appreciate it. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Cinemagic out.
Whoa!